MSNBC's Morning Joe hosts Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski had recently fawned about going to a really fancy Palm Springs event with the Koch brothers. And they talked about how awesome their weekend was. Let's take a listen.
We go to break. We need to talk about our weekend.
Oh, it was awesome.
So we went. We
fascinating.
actually went out to Palm Springs, where Charles and David Koch have their winter meeting. John Carl was out there as well. We saw a lot of presidential candidates running around, and it was a pretty remarkable event. And the most remarkable thing was what they were talking about. You know, I sat and talked to Charles a good bit. Charles Koch a good bit. He was obsessed about, well, just what I said and what I've been saying for some time. Income disparity and mainly crony capitalism. And anybody that thinks that they're loyal, faithful Republicans have never talked to them for more than 3 minutes.
They're libertarians.
They're libertarians. They loathe, even though they did not say this to me, they have no use for people that want to go out and, you know, have these huge bloody battles on social issues.
Oh, it was awesome. My weekend at the Koch brothers was awesome already. Fawning sycophancy, right? But I'll get to that. They hate crony capitalism so much, even though they buy our politicians in order to pass rules that benefit their corporation, Koch Industries. Interesting. Not only that, but anybody who thinks that they're a loyal, faithful Republicans have never talked to them for more than 3 minutes. No, they're anti-establishment. And they have little patience for those who want huge bloody battles on social issues, except for the fact when they fund Republican candidates that run on social issues, like abortion, like gay marriage. They say one thing. They talk out of two sides of their mouth. They say, well, we are for, we don't want to get in the middle of gay marriage. But we are going to support any candidate that does our bidding, our economic bidding, over that of gay marriage. Why? Because it benefits us personally. Your freedom, we don't really care about that as long as our interests are represented. Yeah. But that's not all. The fawning sycophancy continues.
This guy is what my good buddy Charlie Hilton would call a true believer. And he's got no use for Republicans that support corporate welfare and no use for Democrats. It's pretty remarkable. Anybody that, I mean, they have been painted as cartoon characters that they're just
definitely not what you think.
Now listen, they believe in the freedom agenda. They believe in low taxes. They believe in low regulations. They are libertarians. They don't want the federal government in your pocketbook, but they also don't want them in your bedroom. Mm-hmm. They're like I think most Americans.
Oh my God, Koch brothers, I love you so. Oh, Charles, oh, give me that. Oh, I'd love to suck the Coke. Oh my God, I love it so much. Oh, do you hear? It kind of makes me throw up in my mouth a little bit. How much he loves the Koch brothers. Why? Because he got to go to that special Palm Springs event. You know, for important people. And of course, he was probably showered and lavished with attention. Like, oh, you're Morning Joe. Oh, you're a Republican. You agree with me on a lot of stuff. Oh, you want to cut Social Security too? You are my best friend. Just the sycophancy. And I want to address what they said. They don't want the federal government in your pocketbook, but they also don't want them in your bedroom. They're like, I think, most Americans, except that they're not. And I want to show you why. They don't have the same priorities as most Americans. They're not at all like most Americans. In fact, they run on policies that are the complete opposite of what most Americans actually want. You see, most Americans actually want the government to work, to do things. To do things like take care of the elderly, to take care of the poor. Most Americans like that. And here's some of the things that the Koch brothers, that especially David Koch, and I know he said he talked to Charles. Remember, those two believe in the same things. They both give to conservative causes. And one of the conservative causes that they're part of is the Libertarian Party. And the Libertarian Party ran on these things in the 1980s. And they still believe that stuff today. The repeal of campaign finance laws. But I thought you were against crony capitalism. Weak campaign finance laws lead to crony capitalism. It leads to lobbying from certain sectors of the government to keep other sectors down. It's a way to crush competition. You lobby to put in regulation to stop other businesses. We favor the abolition of Medicare and the Medicaid programs. The thing is that people do not want to cut Medicaid or Medicare. When asked, a majority of Americans would like to expand Medicaid. We favor the repeal of the fraudulent, virtually bankrupt, and increasing the oppressive Social Security system. I find it funny that they would think Social Security is oppressive. Hey, Grandma, here's $1,200 a month. Oh my God, get that money out of my face. You're oppressing me. I'm pretty sure that doesn't happen. Money to survive when you're retired and can't work is not oppression. And according to the Kaiser Family Foundation, most Americans do not share that belief. In fact, voters strongly oppose cutting Social Security benefits. 71% are opposed to means testing, and 67% are opposed to raising the retirement age. And that's according to the Kaiser Family Foundation. But wait, there's more. We propose the abolition of the post office. The post office? Here's another thing that they dramatically oppose compared to the American people, where the American people are not on their side. We support the repeal of all laws that impede the ability of a person to find employment, such as the minimum wage. The minimum wage. Get rid of it. We want you to work for 25 cents an hour, $2 an hour, whatever we feel like paying you. Whatever crumbs we feel like bestowing upon you. This is what we'll pay you. And we want to get rid of that minimum wage. Whereas the majority of Americans, 71%, according to CNN's American Dream poll, want to raise the minimum wage. 71% of Americans surveyed. And not only that, but in the midterms. In the midterm elections where Democrats got trounced, supposedly on being too liberal. If you go to any conservative website, that's what they'll tell you. In those same states where Democrats got just annihilated, and which, by the way, these were conservative Democrats in conservative areas. Mark Pryor, Allison Lundergan Grimes. You can't tell me with a straight face that those people were liberal. You would get laughed out of the room. Literally. In those places, in Arkansas, you had a minimum wage hike. Minimum wage hikes all over the country during the midterm. And you can't tell me that they think like most Americans. That they're like most Americans when they support things that are contrary, absolutely contrary to what most Americans feel and most Americans call for. Now, of course, you break it down by party line, and you still have majority of Republicans say that minimum wage should be raised. 54%. And here's another thing. We condemn compulsory education laws. Compulsory education. We don't want no education, says the Koch brothers. We don't want public school. We don't want your child to have a chance to go to a public school and get an education. That should be private. What else should be private? Water. Just like the CEO of Nestle, they called for the privatization of inland waterways and for the distribution system that brings water to industry, agriculture, and households. Privatize water. This is crazy land. These are extreme views. Not only that, we specifically oppose laws requiring an individual to buy or use so-called self-protection equipment, such as seat belts, airbags, or crash helmets. Seat belts? Fuck that. You don't need a seat belt. This is social Darwinism in action. And finally, we oppose all government welfare relief projects and aid to the poor programs. So, sorry, Grandma, we're going to eliminate your Social Security and get rid of your food stamps and get rid of any sort of welfare program that helps you. Housing assistance, cut it, gone. And they only rely on, and they say you should rely on, private charities to make up the difference. Private charities. You know, we had a system like that before. Back in the 1800s. The Gilded Age. And it was complete corporate feudalism. And they want to bring us back. Basically, their aim, Charles and David Koch's aim, is to roll back every progressive thing done in the last century. Eliminate it. So they can make more profit. They can make more money. And that's really what they care about. Their principles be damned. All they care about is getting the next buck. Yeah, they're like most Americans. Not even close.